guys, welcome to my channel. Let's learn together. My name is George Yusuf. In this video tutorial and a series of upcoming video tutorials, I'll be covering 16-bit assembly language programming. To get started, all we need is EMU8086. I'm going to leave a link down below for you to download and install. Once you've done that, follow along. Okay, let's double click on EMU86 icon to open up. Let me just real quick hide these icons and get them out of the way. Okay, what we want to do is create a startup template for ourselves. So click new and keep the default .com template. Click OK. This is what you'll get. Let's delete these two lines and type jump start, press enter a few times, type start colon, press enter a few more times, type end colon, and under that type interrupt 20h. Now you can save this as a template, click save as, and give it a name like my template .asm. So .asm is important. That's the extension for assembly language. And click save. In this case, I'm not saving this myself because I already have one saved up. So I'm just going to open my template. And what you see in front of you now is the editor for EMU8086. At the top, in green color, are the comments. Anything preceded by a semicolon is considered a comment. Assembler will ignore everything after the semicolon to the end of line. After that, there's origin 100 that tells the assembler this is where our program starts at offset 100 in memory. Basically anything before 100, which is 256 bytes, are reserved for DOS. So this can be 200, 300, 400, whatever, but it cannot be less than 100. After that, we have the label jump start tells the assembler to ignore the data section below jump start, which resides in this area, and skip over to the start label where the code exists. So, and the last line, obviously the start is the code segment where the instruction you'll be entering into your source code over here. And the last label is the end label, which ends the program and returns control to DOS. Utilizing interrupt 20, there's other way of doing that, and we'll get into it some other time. Before we do the famous hello world, let me explain what variables are. Before we do that, we'll click on help, documentation, go to tutorials and click on variables. You will see the syntax for variable declaration is as so: name db value or name dw value. db stands for defined byte, dw stands for defined words. So anything, if you say db, anything after that, all the elements of this variable will be byte size. If you say dw, all the elements in this variable will be word size. So let's create a variable or a message to print msg1, let's call it, and I'll say define by. You can open a single or double quote. I'm going to do single quote and type the message that you want, hello world, and end it with $sign and close quote. $sign tells the assembler this is where our message ends. And to print this message, you can use interrupt 21h. And to utilize this interrupt, you have to have some or pass some parameters to it, of which one of them is the value 9 in AH register. So you're going to say move into AH 09 or just the number 9, that works too. And the other thing you want to do is load the effective address of your message into DX register. The way of doing that is move into DX offset of MSG1, or the other way is, I'm going to put a semicolon in for a comment. You can also use load effective address into DX of MSG1 if you don't want to say offset. That works the same way. If I click on emulate, what you'll see is a source code that opens up with your source in it. If you click on MSG on the variable, you'll look at the on the right side in the emulator, the message starts, or the variable starts at address 102, highlighted in yellow, and it ends with a $sign. So what we're going to do is move the offset of this message into DX registers, which is going to move 102 hexadecimal into DX register. So if I click on single step, start, it moves 102 into DX, and then we're going to put number 9 into AH register right there. Number 9 into AH, call interrupt 21 and execute, and here you go, hello world is printed as expected. Now what I would like you to do is read this text file. It covers some of the things that you can and you cannot do with the move instruction. Once you're done, come back and continue with this video tutorial. So, assuming you're back, let me propose a new idea. What if you want to print more than one message? For example, I'll just paste this here. What if you want to print all these 3 messages? Well, obviously, the first time we loaded the message 1 offset into DX register, and we continued with 9 in AH and then interrupt 21. So obviously we have to do the same thing with second message. That would be move into DX offset of MSG2, move into AH 09, and then interrupt 21H. We'll do the same thing for the third message, move into DX offset of MSG3, move into AH09, and then interrupt 21H. And let's give it a try. Emulate, run. It prints all 3 messages, but on the same line. So let me introduce you to a new option. Let's click on ASCII codes so we can see the table. Number 13, pay attention to, is carriage return. Number 10 is new line. So if I was to put 13 comma 10 comma before the second line, and same thing on this one, 13 comma 10 comma. So this is how you separate your parameters in your variables with commas. If I was to run this again, voila, it prints all 3 messages on 3 separate lines. Well, you might ask, is there another way we can do this? Yes, there is. Shorter way would be since all the variables are stored sequentially in your memory. Let's look at them. Click on emulate. I'll look at message 1. It starts at 102 and it ends at 10D. Check what's after it. Immediately the second message. Second message. If I click on message 2, it highlights it. Second message. Right? Again, stored sequentially after the first message, and the third message, same thing, stored sequentially after the second message, right? So when you do print service 9 of function interrupt 21, it looks for a $sign to end the string printing. If it does not find it at the top, what happens? Let me delete it. If it does not find it at the top, it's going to keep searching downwards. In fact, let me remove all 3, see what error you get. If I say emulate and print. It says enter 21.9H address blah 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 byte 24, which is $, and you can look at it in your ASCII code. 24, what is 24? Is $, right there. It's 36 in decimal, but it's 24 in hexadecimal. It's $. So it's saying byte 24 edge not found after 2000 bytes. So it searched for $, all the way down to 2000 bytes, and it didn't find it. So it terminated the program. So what I'm going to do is put the $, at the end of the last message. And I can now delete these other instructions over here. Just one print function, in other words, could print all three. Let's emulate again. Run. Voila. 3 messages on 3 separate lines. And another way of doing it is just put everything on one line. So I'll just copy these from here. Let me just do that and paste it here. Let me just put a comma, and then at the end I'll put another comma, and then copy this stuff here and put it at the end. Let's see. Let me do some cleanup. I'll delete these 2 messages, and if I run this again, it works out the same way. 3 messages on 3 separate lines. So you could also do it this way. I could just type here db. Let me line up db and the first message, and then type db and the second message. Now all these 3 lines belong to the same message, message 1. This will work out the same way. If I run it, as you can see, it still works. So let me propose another idea. What if you want to print a message like this? I need $50 to pay my debt, $ enclosed quote. So in a case like this, let me try printing it. First, to show you what happens, this is going to print I need only, because it thinks this $ right there is the end of string. So in a case like this, you have to break down this message into 3 parts, where the first part would be that I need space, second part would be $ by itself, and the third part would be the remaining of the message. So let's do that. I'm going to say this is one message, and then I'll say MSG2 defined by, this time enclosed in single quotes for second message, and message 3 would be db, the remaining of the original message. So in this case, we have to utilize service 9 of interrupt 21 to print the strings, which is 1, 2. However, this is not a string. This is a character that we need to print. So we have to utilize service 2 of interrupt 21H. So let me do it. I'll take this from here and we'll create 2 functions over here to print string and print character. So let's call this print str for print string, and I'll say move into a edge09 interrupt 21H and return, and then another function that I'm going to create is going to be print char for the character, and I'll say move into a edge02 interrupt 21H and return. So we can call these 2 functions within our program. Now move message 1 offset into DX, and you simply say call print str to print this message. Let's try it. Run. I need it's printed. Okay, now we need to now print the dollar sign, the second message, which is a character. We cannot use service 9 for that, so we have to use service 2. And service 2 requires that you put the character that you want to print in DL register. So all I have to do is say move into DL MSG2, which will move the dollar sign into DL register. And then I'll say call print character. This will print the dollar sign by itself. Let's give it a try. Run. The dollar sign is printed. Now the remaining of the message we have to do load effective address into DX of MSG3 and then call print str, and this should print the third message after the first and the second. I need $50 to pay my debt. Okay, now how do we print a message that has more than one dollar sign, maybe 2 or 10 or 20 or more? Well, that will be the subject matter of part 2 of this video tutorial. Now please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't so far. If you have any questions, you can post them as I'll get to them as soon as I can. In the meantime, I'll be seeing you very soon in the next video tutorial. Have a good day. Goodbye now.